Okay, well, welcome everyone. We're so glad you're able to join us. My name is Dan Bromberg. I'm the Director of Academic Programs for the Carsey School of Public Policy. And today I'm going to be speaking about our new online MPA and our Executive MPA degree. Both of them are online programs. We're just launching them and we're extremely excited to be able to do this for all of our students, all of our potential students. And we're really looking forward to moving these forward. So this presentation will focus on those programs. I'll also touch on a couple of the other aspects of Carsey and a couple of the other academic programs available at Carsey. So without further ado, I'll get going here. Should you have any questions, there's a Q&A feature on Zoom that I'm sure you're all familiar with at this point, and there's also the chat box. I'm joined today by my colleague, Robin Husslage, and Robin will be joining us right after the presentation, and she'll help field any questions that come forward. So please feel free to populate either one of those, the Q&A feature or the chat box. So why the Carsey School? So when we think about graduate education, you have a lot of choices out there. And ultimately, we think the Carsey School offers you a pretty great opportunity, especially in the New England region, but now with our online programs, well beyond that region as well. So the Carsey School not only has academic programs, but we have Carsey centers that focus on engagement, advocacy, research, and really, combining those aspects and learning from each of those aspects of Carsey makes for the student's experience to be extremely well-rounded. So we have our outreach arm in New Hampshire Listens. There are our civic engagement initiative. They engage in deliberative conversations over, really challenging topics. So it could be something, as consequential as the opioid crisis on both a regional or national level, or it might be something as local as building a new high school. New Hampshire Listens is out there in the field trying to help have those challenging conversations. And frequently our students get to work with them and engage in that process. We have a number of different research centers where our students can work with those researchers either through a capstone or an internship experience. So ultimately, the Carsey School offers a number of different opportunities to our students. And by integrating our different areas, students really get the best of a number of different worlds. The academic programs that we offer at the Carsey School are the MPA, which I'm going to be focusing on today, and that's both the Executive MPA and the traditional MPA, both of them offered fully online, our Master in Community Development, and our Master in Public Policy. And then we also have a dual degree with a Juris Doctorate. So it's an MPP-JD dual degree that students can opt if they're interested in gaining that legal education. So the Master of Public Administration. So this is a fully online degree. And really the goal here is to prepare people for management positions within the nonprofit and public sectors. So really it's about running those organizations that are mission-driven and operate in heightened political environments. It combines both public policy making with the need for operational management, right? So it's not only, how do you implement this policy, but how do you manage an organization that's going to be implementing this policy? So as we shift this program online and we introduce this new executive online program, the schedule is really slated out for you guys to walk through this program in a reasonable amount of time. So the Executive MPA program is going to be geared towards those of you with 5 years of relevant work experience. And the traditional online MPA program will be geared towards those that don't quite have that work experience. And ultimately, it's going to be a difference in about 6 credits. So the time frame shouldn't be that much different. To complete the Executive Online MPA in 1 year's time, what you would be doing is taking 2 courses at once. And what you could see here is that our online schedule, we call them e-terms, are about 8-week sessions. If you were to take 2 courses during each of those 8-week sessions, you would complete your degree within that year's term. So you would go 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and then you'd finish with your capstone and 1 other course. and you would be set to graduate. And the only difference between that and the MPA program, which requires 12 courses plus a capstone, is that somewhere along the way, you would either have to pick up a third course during one of these sessions, or you would simply stay for an extra semester or an extra e-term and complete your program. So ultimately, they both offer a relatively expedient way to pursue your MPA degree online in a cohort of people who are engaged in public service management, both at the nonprofit and public sector. So you still get that cohort experience and engage with your colleagues. We're just doing that in the online format. One of our other programs that we offer is our Master in Community Development. That's a 36 credit program. And currently, due to the pandemic, that's also being offered online. Similar in that it attracts mid-career professionals, typically in the public or nonprofit sector, where I like to draw a distinction between these two programs. If you think about the MPA program as how do I manage an organization from the top down, we really think about community development as taking place at that grassroots level, right? So from the bottom up, working within a community, understanding project development at a community level, engaging stakeholders at a community level, and really working at that grassroots level, right? And then bringing that project up through the appropriate organizations, connecting with the various organizations and stakeholders. So it really kind of flips that idea of top-down organizational management down to that lower level of community engagement. And your interest in community development might be related to public health, right? As we're seeing that initiative needed right now. It might be related to economic development, right? Or any other aspects of community development, community justice, right? We work within all of these different specialties and have experts in the field who are able to teach those courses across the board. So another program that might interest those that are interested in that more local level community development. Last, we offer a Master in Public Policy. This is an in-person cohort-based program. I would say our most traditional program that we offer. It's a 40 credit hour program. And there are two different tracks. There's a policy analysis track or a strategy and communication track. The highlight of this program really are the various experiential opportunities. First is our trip to Washington, D.C., where we spend 5 days meeting with policymakers across government. And we're talking, pretty high level policymakers that get to share their experience, share how they achieve their strategic goals. Students also get to engage in an internship and capstone experience. These are all opportunities that students are engaging in the field. And then they're in the classroom with experts in their fields of policy, both within strategic policy implementation, advocacy, engaging with the media, policy across borders. So how various policies from various countries, affect domestic policy and how domestic policy affects those other countries. So really a comprehensive Master's in Public Policy program. And the nice part of that is that students can actually engage with other curriculum throughout all three of our programs when they think about their electives and what they might do with their electives. So for example, you could expand your credentials by getting a graduate certificate. And we've identified 6 graduate certificates that pair extremely well with our programming. But that said, the university has a number of different graduate certificates outside of these. But let's just assume you might be interested in public health. What you're able to do is take those electives that you might have in the MPA program and then pursue that public health graduate certificate within those electives. And the same could be said for our MPP program, where you have 4 electives. The data science graduate certificate is a 4-course graduate certificate. So you pair that with the MPP, and with 0 extra time and 0 extra money, you graduate with both a graduate certificate in data science and a Master's of Public Policy. So you're really getting a good amount of value there for the time and money that you're spending at UNH. And what we've done is we've mapped out the best way to do that. And our academic advisors are happy to work with you to figure out the best way to do that as you move through the program. So just an example of some of our graduates. These are some of our MPA graduates. So we have folks that are engaged in policing. We have folks that are engaged in various diversity initiatives and cultural competency, as you see Bhagirath right in the center. We have folks that are engaged in policy at a very high level. So Brittany works for U.S. Senator Maggie Hassan in Washington, D.C. She's a policy advisor for education and workforce. And we have students that are, located regionally, nationally, working within state government, nonprofits, the federal government, really across, the public and nonprofit sectors, both regionally and nationally. And when you come to our program, you become a part of that network and really start engaging with those people throughout your time with us. So it really does present a whole another set of opportunities to engage with that network. So admission's pretty straightforward, right? You need your transcripts from your undergrad. You need to provide us with a personal statement, 3 letters of recommendation, a resume, test scores only for international applicants. So a TOEFL would be required for international applicants. And then there's an application fee. And what I would say is, we spend a good amount of time looking at that personal statement, why you want to come to our program, why is this important to you? That gives us really good insight into both how well you write, but also your interests in pursuing the field. Tuition costs. So you'll see there is a difference in tuition costs because of the 30 credit versus the 36 credit. And frankly, we work with students on tuition. We have a number of different partners that might offer some incentives for tuition and educational awards. So while the sticker value, is right in front of you, please don't hesitate to reach out and have the conversation around, what the true cost may be depending on your particular situation. So here are some of our partnership programs. So City Year, AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, Semester in the City, City of Concord. We engage with a number of different partners and each of them offer different types of opportunities. So like I said, it really is an individually based financial situation. So I would encourage you to reach out and chat with us about your particular situation. And ultimately what we would encourage you to do is check out our website. So the URL that's on the screen, please feel free to go to. Our contact information is right below that. So I'm Dan Bromberg, once again, the Director of Academic Programs. Sanjeev Sharma is pretty amazing with any admissions or application questions. He will work through all of that with you should you have any questions. And Robin, who will be jumping on the screen in just a second, really, can help you with almost about anything. And if she can't help you, she'll make sure you get to the right person. So please copy down our contact information. We'll share that with you as well. And you're more than welcome to reach out to us. So let me stop my screen share and open it up to any questions. And we're happy to help out. And here is my wonderful colleague, Robin Husslage, joining us.
Hi, everyone. Dan, we do have some questions. One question is, where can I find the list of what is accepted for the Executive MPA?
It's a good question. You can't find it. So ultimately, what we're looking for, relevant is obviously a pretty broad word. What we're looking for is experience in the public or nonprofit sector, engaging in public service, and we're kind of thinking about these as this was your job, right? These weren't volunteering opportunities. So that's really what we're looking at. And similar to the financial situation, these are going to be case-by-case decisions to some degree. Obviously, if you've been working in higher ed or in a, some public organization for more than 5 years, a nonprofit organization, then that would qualify. So just share it with us on your resume. But ultimately, that would put you over the bar.
Great, thanks, Dan. Another question is related to the capstone project. Do you assign them? is the question, or assist students in connecting with organizations for their capstone project?
Yeah, great question. So we don't assign them. It's a little bit of both, I would say, as far as connecting. So often students have connections that they would like to pursue. Often they have projects at their own organizations, which isn't part of their job description, but they would like to pursue at their own organizations. And often they say to us, I'm really interested in, working in, a healthcare nonprofit or an education nonprofit. Do you know anyone? And we would make that connection and try to, help students find that capstone project. So it's a little bit of of everything.
Great. Another question is for the Executive MPA, would I be able to take only one course per term to lighten my load?
Yeah, 100%. The maps are developed to help you look ahead and plan for, however long this might take you. We have plenty of students that go at a pace where they're taking one course per term. Ultimately the time is your time, right? So it would just take you a little bit longer to pursue that degree. But no question, you're more than welcome to take, as many or as few courses as you'd like at a time.
Great. Another question, are the classes self-paced or are there live virtual sessions too?
Yeah, so there'll be a little bit of both. Primarily, they will be self-paced or asynchronous classes. Most of the work will be done, at your own pace. However, faculty will do check-ins on occasion. Faculty will hold, sessions for students to get together. Typically, we front end some of that, so we get to meet each other online, and then there might be some work offline. So it will not be 100% either or, but it will primarily be asynchronous classes where you're moving at your own pace.
Great. Another question, while pursuing my MPA, can I take courses from the other Carsey master's degree programs?
Yeah, 100%. And we encourage that. We think that's great when our students, engage in all three of our programs, frankly. And for those of you that are interested in the online program, but might also want some face-to-face opportunities, those other programs do offer more face-to-face opportunities than in person. So that's always an option to say, okay, I'm going to do my MPA core courses and upper core online, but then I'm going to look to my electives to do some in-person opportunities. So no question, you could pair them all together.
Great. Another question, if I start in the fall, when would I graduate if pursuing the Executive MPA?
You graduate the following summer. So basically, there are 5 e-terms in an academic year. You would have 10 courses that you need to take, and that includes your capstone. So long as you pursued 2 courses every e-term, every 8 weeks, you would be finishing the following summer, probably around mid-July, and your graduation date would be September 1, give or take, because the university does have a September graduation.
Great. Another question, how easy is it to juggle work, family, and pursuing an online MPA?
Well, that is entirely up to you. I would imagine it's pretty hard. Most of our students are doing that, right? So most of our students are in that boat, I would say. But yeah, it's a balance, right? It's a hard balance. I think all of our faculty are aware that our students are trying to manage that balancing act. And I think that they, A, assign the appropriate amount of work to accommodate for that, but then B, are also quite understanding when it comes to, various family or career, responsibilities that someone has to take on. So if someone's traveling for work and they have to miss class or something along those lines, our faculty try to accommodate to the best of their ability.
Great. That's all the questions I see. If you have any questions, just put it in the chat box or the Q&A box, and Dan will be happy to answer it. I don't see any more popping up, so.
Okay.
I think you've done a great job presenting the information, Dan, and answering the questions that people had.
Great. So like I said, please feel free to reach out to either Robin or myself or Sanjeev. We're more than happy to answer questions. Just so you all know, right, our next start is in fall of 2021, right? That's when both of these programs launch. That said, if you're interested in pursuing classes prior to that, there are ways that you could do that, either through continuing education or starting in another version of the program a little bit earlier. But ultimately, these next programs do begin fall 2021. So just reach out to us and we'll kind of help you navigate through the process should you need any help. Thank you so much and take care to everybody.